So we all know just how much the big club loves divide and rule games. What I want to talk about today is what sort of person is most likely to fall for these divide and rule tactics and why. Like, who's going to be the useful idiots that are going to go along with divide and rule, and can we kind of produce some sort of rationale to explain why those people are particularly susceptible to this divide and rule tactic? So I think fundamentally it boils down to this: we're not groups, we're individuals. Now, I know not everyone's going to agree with this, but my belief is that human beings are one of a kind. Each of us is one of a kind. Like, for example, I've got a son. So is he like me? Is he like my wife? Or is he like a completely unique person? And he's obviously that. He's a completely unique person. Each of us is the only example of us that will ever exist. And this is something I've always found amazing, that each of us were born unique talents, unique sets of characteristics. This is why, for me personally, this is why I find humanity so interesting, and I can't really get my head around people who are not interested in their fellow human beings. They maybe prefer the company of animals instead. For me, okay, fair enough, if that's what you're into and you don't leave your dog poo for me to step in, I'm not too fussed about that. But I'm way more interested in human beings who are sentient, who, as I say, they're unique, the only example of them that will ever exist. So obviously, bearing that in mind, my view of humanity is that we're individuals, aren't we? Each human being is an individual. But what I've learned, I guess, even from people who might claim to be awake, I don't know what's your phrases, truthers, researchers, is that many of these people are very, very likely to fall victim to or get trapped in divide and rule games, because they view humanity as being separated into distinct groups, and each group has a set of immutable characteristics. Immutable meaning that it can't change. That each group of people, you can sort humanity into various groups, and each group has distinctive characteristics, and within that group everything is homogeneous, identical. So I was thinking about how to try to explain this to people, and I've come up with this. I think the people who are most likely to fall for divide and rule, they see humanity as being like Lego. So, you might have some red Lego, that would be one group. Red Lego, it's all identical, right? Blue Lego, identical. Yellow Lego, that's another set of characteristics. White Lego, they're responsible for what do they call it? The order, world, new. I don't know. Blue Lego is, maybe they're permanently oppressed, or I don't. People have these kind of crazy ideas about different types of Lego, right? And they attribute particular characteristics. Maybe this red Lego, they're responsible for. All of them are terrorists, yeah. So some examples, just about how prevalent this thinking is, and how people are quite happy to go along with it. Obviously, you've got like Russia and the Olympics, and Russian athletes were held responsible for what their governments did, and they were excluded from the Olympics on the ground that they were a blue piece of Lego, and all blue pieces of Lego are the same. When the reality of it is that they're individuals, they're sovereign, unique individuals with free will. And it's kind of unfair, really, to blame blue pieces of Lego for the actions taken by a handful of kind of psychopaths that we call government. this kind of mentality of seeing people as groups rather than individuals. Obviously you've got, I don't know, maybe in Rwanda, the white tribe and the blue tribe try to slaughter each other. It's just, and they do that because they've stopped seeing them as individuals. You know, the blue team will see the white team as like they're a homogenous mass. They've got immutable, unchangeable characteristics. They're all the same. We can call them the white team. We don't need to distinguish within the white team about different individuals. No, we hold them all to the same standard of account, even though they might not be responsible for the things that we're blaming them for as individuals. It doesn't matter. Let's slaughter them. Obviously, at the weekend in Britain, there's been some alleged terrorism, and you will have people. This is I don't know, kind of low level, not sophisticated, like truth awake people who kind of fall for sort of Tommy Robinson and stuff. They will sort of like try to get people into this kind of see people as groups, not individuals. They'll try to blame all Muslims for Islamic terror events. All Muslims are behind Islamic terror. And this is where this kind of attitude comes from of forced deportations, which I'm hearing more and more, and I'm increasingly concerned about. Because if that happens in the UK, the people who are going to be deported won't be going quietly. The only way that this is solved is by removing the cause of the problem, which is government, and removing all welfare benefits. Let people live where they want to live on the planet. One individual shouldn't be called, just because they're called a politician, shouldn't be able to tell you where you're going to live. And then the other thing to bear in mind too is that the welfare state is really, really important to the people that want you to think about humanity into competing groups, because it creates resentment. These red blocks have come in and basically, a lot of them are on welfare or blah, 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 blah. The solution to this is to get rid of government, get rid of the welfare. If people want to move to a place and earn a living in the free market and sell things that other people of their own free will want to buy, and that's enough for them to earn a living, why shouldn't they live there? Yeah, so what I'm saying here is that the type of person that is most likely to fall for divide and rule plays by the big club are people that who incorrectly view humanity as being just a collection of groups, each group distinct, homogenous, and people like me who are less likely to fall for divide and rule, who instead view humanity as individuals. So of course I'm not going to blame a red block of Lego and view every single red block of Lego as being identical, because it's the wrong analogy. People aren't like that. People are individuals, and it's obviously stupid to hold the entire population of a country to be responsible for the actions of a handful of people called politicians. How can you spot people that view humanity as groups? Well, one thing is obviously they use slurs, don't they? Like, for example, little hats. That's not to say that, I defend the actions of the Israeli government. I shouldn't have to say that. Of course I don't. But people who use those slurs that demonize a particular, what they've done is sifted and sorted humanity. They've said, oh, like this brown block of Lego, they're responsible for it all. We're going to call them the little hats. They're all the same. It's these people, they might claim to be awake, but they're not. They're no different from the Tommy Robinson fans. Absolutely no different. It's just that they're demonizing a different set of humanity. The Tommy Robinson people are demonizing Muslims. The little hat people are demonizing Jews. There's no difference. They're both camps are foolish because they're just falling into the big club's divide and rule. And they're useful idiots, I would say. I'm going to show you a couple of images now. So this is an example of somebody, it's inconceivable that this person that I'm going to show you now who, on his own with a big iron bar, literally beat a group of people to death with an iron bar. What I'm saying to you is it's inconceivable that that person would have done what they did had they viewed humanity as being individuals. He only did what he did because he bought into this erroneous, false notion that humanity is composed of groups with that are homogenous, with immutable characteristics. And that's all I want to say today, so God bless.